Welcome in to Moving the Chains. John, we're here with our Week 2 preview show, talking all of the big games across South Carolina, all of the games across South Carolina here in high school football, the ranks, man. It's going to be another fun week, another bit of a weird week. Had some movement last week in Week 1. Obviously, games getting pushed to Thursday or Saturday or Monday. We had some no contests that ended up turning into first quarter wins. And then this week, we may have something similar. I've seen some movement already, some games coming to Thursday. Chance of weather as well. Hopefully we get everything played. But, man, it was great to see some guys back on the field last Friday and Saturday and Thursday nights.
Yeah, certainly a fun weekend of high school football. It felt like a weekend of college football with the games on multiple days. And, it was nice to spread it out a little bit. And, some of these games get more focused than they normally would, with everything being typically on a Friday night and then, a handful of games here and there on Thursday.
No doubt about it. This is you guys' first time tuning in. Be sure to follow us on all social media at Moving Chains. That's MOVINCHAINS. Our website, movingchains.com, and our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Each and every Tuesday, we do a live preview show breaking down all the games in that upcoming week about 7:15 on YouTube and Facebook. We do outside of that teams of the week, players of the week, stock up, food reviews, all kinds of great stuff coming throughout the season here on Moving the Chains. While you're here, support the boys. Get your Moving the Chains merch. As you see, I've got a nice dry fit shirt on right now. You can order one of those. We've got some great hoodies, some great hats, Richardson hats, all kinds of colored T-shirts, gray, pink, blue. Love to have you supporting us. And outside, I also got some stickers as well. Great for your coffee cup, for your Yeti cup, your car, your laptop, whatever. Support the boys. Email us info@movingchains.com. or send us a direct message on Facebook or Twitter or email, whatever you want to do. Love to have you repping the boys, supporting the boys. I got to see some great folks last Friday night down in Irmo talking to them. It was great to see some folks out and about. Hope we see some more of you guys this week. But once again, info@movingchains.com to get your Moving the Chains merch. Jerel, any shout-outs for you early here on the program with our CONA Games of the Week? Rich Cap says, one of my favorite shows on Tuesdays during football season. Thank you, Rich. Appreciate that, man. We were looking forward to another great show here in Week 2. Brendan says, great games this week. He'll be at Wilder for Clinton Lawrence. A more intriguing rivalry matchup than we've seen in the past couple years between those two for sure. Zach says, let's go. Game week finally here for Clinton, and it's hate week as well. Lawrence County Championship on the line. Should be a good one, Zach. Noah says, what's up? What's up, Noah? Appreciate you joining us tonight, my man. Travis, good to see you, buddy. Thank you for joining us as well. Dion says, Rams, big win for Westside in a shortened game last Friday. The boys look great so far this season. Armani says, Clover, shot ourselves in the foot on Friday against Fort Mill offensively. Defensively looked okay. They'll be okay. Fort Mill might be a surprise team in 5A. Coach McNeely's bunch has some talent there, and I look forward to that Clover squad bouncing back. Tyler says, what's up, fellas? Mitch Shell's excited for this week. Thank you, Tyler, for joining us. Appreciate you, buddy. Glad to have you as always. Bradley says, good to see y'all. What games we got this week, man? We got a lot of big ones to talk about, Bradley. We certainly do. Steven says, Westside Rams in the house had a fun trip to Ashley Ridge. Ryan says, tough loss for Saluda. It was, but hey, anytime you play Abbeville, it's always going to be a tough game. There for the
good showing, though.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Let's get into these CONA games of the week, guys.
Let's do it. Our Carolina Orthopedic and Neurosurgical Associates games of the week, 5 of the biggest games across the Palmetto State. John, let's start with the really intriguing matchup to me when we were talking about off-air earlier, and that's 1A, Bamberg-Ehrhardt hosting 4A, Hilton Head Island. The Seahawks, a big 38-21 victory over South Florence last week. Surprised some folks across the state, kind of sent a statement out there for sure. Bamberg-Ehrhardt continues to roll, picked right up where they left off last year, a big 62-6 win over HKT. You always worry, John, when you see a smaller school up against a bigger school. How's the size stack up? How's the depth stack up? I'll tell you, Bamberg-Ehrhardt, not your typical 1A team. I think they could certainly cause some problems for the Seahawks this Friday night.
Yeah, Bamberg-Ehrhardt definitely has some bruisers. I mean, that's the calling card for this program. It's been like, since I can remember, always some big boys coming out of Bamberg-Ehrhardt. They'll be a physical group. I don't think the physicality or the strength, I don't see them getting pushed around up front by Hilton Head in this game, but I am concerned about the depth. You're going to have guys for Bamberg-Ehrhardt going both ways. Hilton Head's going to have enough depth where they're not going to have to do that as much. We're still talking about August. I mean, it's going to be hot. It's going to be steamy. We're going to have cramps. It's going to be tough for those guys that are playing both ways to be 100% and have those full energy in those legs come fourth quarter, and I think that's where I give the edge to Hilton Head in this game. If you want to argue Bamberg-Ehrhardt's a more talented team, I'm not going to argue that. They certainly may be, and they certainly could be. But I think Hilton Head is a really, really good football team, better than what I expected, given what they did last week. Because I was high on South Florence still. We've seen that group. We've seen a lot of those young kids for the Bruins, and did not expect them to lose that game last week to Hilton Head. So I think this Hilton Head team is a team that we could really be a surprise in 4A. They're in that top 10 poll. We'll talk about that later in the show. But I think there's just going to be too much depth, and I don't think the talent gap, I don't think the disparity of the talent is going to be wide enough for Bamberg-Ehrhardt to overcome that depth issue.
Last week for the Seahawks in their victory, quarterback Derek Ranazuski, 11 for 19, 241 and 3 touchdowns. Also ran it for 58 yards and another touchdown. Running backs Javen Risher, 13 for 101 and a touchdown, and Noah Zarnecki, 16 for 100 and a touchdown. Receiver Jeremiah Walters, 7 catches for $175 and 2 touchdowns. Defensively, Andrew Massey, 11 tackles, 2 TFLs. Josh Bigger, 4 tackles, 3 TFLs and a fumble recovery. And Colton Freeman, 8 tackles and a TFL. For the Red Raiders last week, Brian McMillan, 8 for 10, 175, 3 touchdowns, ran it for another 60 yards and 2 more touchdowns. Charles Anthony Williams had 2 receiving touchdowns and a touchdown rushing. Jordan Bovane, 78 yards and a touchdown. Defensively, Jordan Williams had 9 tackles, 2 picks, including a pick 6, a block punt, and a fumble recovery. Busby had 7 tackles, Cease 8 tackles. One name I did not mention for Hilton Head Island, John, Thaddeus Zarnecki, the brother of Noah, out right now, not back for this week, I don't think, but he'll be a big piece once he gets back in the fold. Was a superstar player last year for them on both sides of the football. One of our Super 75 guys, not playing this week, I don't believe, for Coach Payne's bunch there. I think on the Bamberg-Ehrhardt, side, I feel confident that McMillan is good enough to play, play with 4A. Like, there's no worry about that for me. I think the quarterback is good enough. I think the running back is good enough. I think the O-line is good enough. But like I said, at some point in that fourth quarter, do you get worn down a little bit? You don't have any subs, things like that, and you got guys playing both ways. Your quarterback's playing DB for you. I mean, that's a big, big difference to overcome. And from folks I've talked to for Bamberg-Ehrhardt, the weak spot might be on that back end of the defense. And what Hilton Head Island did last week, throwing for 241 against a pretty good South Florence defense over Coach Braswell, really gives me some concern for the Red Raiders. What I do like in this one, though, John, Bamberg-Ehrhardt, this is their home opener. It's going to be a blackout. They've been posting a ton about how it's, a number, I think, 2 team in 1A against a top 5 team in 4A. Like, they are making this a big deal. And I like that. Like, I think they are expecting to come out and compete and hang and even have a good chance to beat this Seahawks squad. But, man, it is going to be tough. I think both teams are really talented. I think both teams have a good shot to make deep runs in the playoffs. But I don't know where I'm leaning here, Jerel. What are you thinking? I haven't made my pick yet. What are you thinking here on this Hilton Head Island Bamberg-Ehrhardt ball game?
Yeah, I'm going Hilton Head with this one. I just couldn't be more impressed about what this bunch did, this past week against South Florence and winning that game by 3 scores. I mean, got to give them credit for that. Not having their best player as well makes it even more impressive. But also, too, just what Coach Payne has built there. I mean, this is a team we don't get to talk about too much. We haven't been able to talk about a lot over the years, but we should have. I mean, they were 11-2 last year. Lost a tough one in the playoffs to Gray Collegiate. So, I mean, this is a program that's building. On the Bamberg side, you start talking about them. Defending state champs. I mean, I think their ones, which, you're talking about 1A football, their ones are playing on both sides of the ball. I think their ones can hang talent-wise. Again, it just goes to a depth issue. I think this Hilton Head bunch is just poised to make a really, deep run this year. I don't think if Bamberg loses this game, it affects them in any way. I think it actually makes them better because they're just going to be so scary for everybody that's going into 1A. But I think Hilton Head, they pull away that second half. They win this game by 2 or 3 scores. But I think Bamberg's going to give them a fight, especially in that first half.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm leaning to. I would not be surprised at all if we look at the halftime score and it's 21 all or something like that, where like it's like, a really tight ball game, and then Hilton Head Island gets that, a touchdown or two in the fourth quarter to really kind of ice that one out. But yeah, two teams that I like a lot, man. I worry if the big jump always comes week 1 to week 2, it feels like, and whatnot. And I wonder, are we overreacting a little bit to one of these teams? We were all very high on South Florence. Like a lot of us kind of thought there was a good chance they'd win that ball game last week. They didn't. Are we just all of a sudden too high on Hilton Head Island because of the way they played? And maybe we forgot that South Florence is kind of a young bunch. It's going to take a little while to get used to what they're doing there. I don't know. It gives you a little bit of pause there. I feel like we may be too all in on the Seahawks.
I don't think so. Because we've seen the South Florence team, and they've beat up on some people, and those kids are young, but they've gotten a little bit of playing time under their belts, and they're a well-coached team. I still put a stamp on that being a really good win. Now, I did not think that game was going to go the way that it went, but I feel like we know a little bit more about that South Florence program than a lot of programs, just because we've been able to see them play a decent bit over the last few years.
Yeah. And I know that's South Florence and we're talking about these two teams, but going back to that South Florence bunch. I mean, this is a program, that's obviously in transition with a new head coach, but this is Coach Braswell. So like they gave up 38 points at this Hilton Head bunch. So that is what puts a lot of stock into it for me. And so they're not just getting it done on the ground. They were getting it done in the air as well. So very, multiple attack on offense. I'm really high on the Seahawks bunch. I think they're going to do some great things this year.
Man, I want to pick Bamberg-Ehrhardt so bad.
Do it.
You know what? They're at home. It's a blackout, man. It's, first home game of the season. It's kids night. It's a big deal for those guys. I'm going to go Red Raiders close, pulling the upset here. Could be completely wrong. Would not be surprised at all. Two teams I like, but let's go Bamberg-Ehrhardt. What's the chat saying here, Jerel, about this one? Brandon's taking Hilton Head in a close one. Travis says Hilton Head 24-21. Dante says he's taking Bamberg-Ehrhardt for the win. Hilton Head by 14, says Bradley. Dion's got Bamberg by 7. Rail says 7:30 at the gates. Let's play ball. I love it. They're not scared. That's for sure, John. That is for sure.
Yeah, a lot of tight games here. I mean, I don't know how it's going to go. We obviously don't know. That's why we play the games, obviously. But, I'm really excited about it. It's a very, very intriguing matchup, and I think it's going to tell us a lot about both of these teams going forward.
Certainly.
I'm going to drop some more. I'm going to drop some additional comments in the chat, not just on the game.
Let's do it. Jacob says Daniel BHP, 5 of the last 6 Upper State champs between those two. Certainly, yeah, and that's a big matchup this week. BHP looking to bounce back from a tough loss. Daniel, a nice win over Wren last week. Wolfman says some big-time upsets in week 1. Puts people on notice, wants to hear about the Strom Thurmond North Augusta game. We'll talk about that when we get here to 4A in a minute, Wolfman. We certainly will. Dante says Marlboro County is for real. Yes, they looked great last Thursday. Big win over Myrtle Beach. David's got the Byrnes Rebels making a statement. Hey, it's tough for them not getting to play a full quarter even last week. But I think they're ready to, rearing to get after it this Friday over against Dorman. Bamberg-Ehrhardt 22-21, says Wolfman.
So you're not alone, Kev. Some other people in the chat going with you on that pick. So let's go to the next game, guys.
Our second CONA game of the week, John. One you're really familiar with, the Wateree River rivalry. Camden traveling to Lugoff-Elgin. Both teams 1-0. Camden a big 35-13 victory over Dillon on Saturday. Lugoff-Elgin 41-25 over Chapin. Camden, led by senior quarterback Grayson Remp, threw for 160 and 2 touchdowns, ran for another touchdown. Jaden Manning ran for a touchdown. Isaiah Smith caught 2 touchdowns. I like the tight end Will Honert a lot. The Wofford commit there for them. Defensively, LeVay Penny had 12 tackles and a pick. Harrison Arnett, 12 tackles and a sack. And Kenneth Lawson is a leader on that side for Coach Remp's bunch as well. For the Demons, playmaker Eric E.J. Richardson, most explosive player in the state, says Coach Littlejohn. Compares him to Percy Harvin. Had a $141 all-purpose yards, 2 touchdowns last week. Tyon Fanning, the transfer, really stood out. Ran for 202 and 2 touchdowns. Also had 41 receiving yards for that group. Quarterback Zach Williams, receiver Keenan Cunningham are also weapons on offense. Defensively, linebacker Jace Coleman, 13 tackles, a TFL, and a sack. Cash Mahar, 17 tackles. Tavion Nelson, 2 sacks. And then defensive back Oliver Coleman, the Coastal Carolina commit, mans the back end there for Coach Littlejohn. John, as you know, the last few years this game has not been the closest. I think last year the Bulldogs won 35-14, but this feels like the best team the Demons have had in quite a while here.
Yeah, it's certainly, I think, the most explosive team they've had offensively in a while. Having a guy like Richardson at your disposal and, a lot of talent, really all over the roster that's you don't typically see coming out of Lugoff-Elgin. So that's really exciting for Demon fans, exciting for myself. The problem is, so is Camden. And, they've got Remp at quarterback that's got a lot of experience. Obviously he is roommates with the head coach. There's a lot of value there with that. And, this is still a Camden team that's a program. They're good every year. They're physical every year. And they go into every game expecting to win. They went between the white walls last week, and they thumped what we think is a really good Dillon team. Whether they're a good Dillon team or not, it's hard to go into that place and win in that environment. And they did easily. I think this is a really good Lugoff-Elgin team. And this is so funny to think about it. Lugoff-Elgin's dropped down to 4A this year from 5A. And I think it's going to get easier after this Camden game for them. After playing a 3A Camden team, we'll talk about in the poll, but they're number 1 in that 3A poll this week now. I don't know if they're the best team in 3A, but I do think they're the best team in Kershaw County. I think this will be a really good measuring stick for this Lugoff-Elgin program to understand where they're at. Last year was not very competitive, but hey, it's better than the 50 burger shirts that, we've seen a few years ago. So I'd like to think Lugoff-Elgin is going to keep this game competitive, keep this game to where Camden's got to play well to win. But I think there's just too much talent on all sides of the roster for this Bulldog team for Lugoff-Elgin to come out and win. Unless, something crazy happens, and we see it every week. But I think you still got to favor the Bulldogs in this game. Should be a good environment. Hopefully, if you're out in Kershaw County, certainly if you're a Lugoff-Elgin graduate, fan, alumni, if you live in the area, definitely go to the game. It'll be a fun atmosphere. Support these kids. Should be a fun season for Lugoff-Elgin. I don't think they get the win Friday, but boy, if they do, put them in the history books, because you ain't got on one hand how many times that's happened ever.
It's to me, John, the key of the game is what can Lugoff-Elgin's defense do? Like, I think they will be able to score the football on Camden. Like, you look at that Camden-Dillon game, while the scoreline maybe a bit deceiving, Dillon ran the football pretty well against Camden. Just had a couple of mistakes there kind of late in drives that didn't let him get on the scoreboard there. So I think Fanning and Richardson are going to get some space there on offense. I think they'll be able to score some points there for the Demons, but can they stop Camden? That's the key. This is a Chapin team last week we think is getting better, but still scored 25, and that was a kind of competitive game there for a while last Friday, John. So I think it may be a high-scoring game here, honestly.
There was one defensive score by Chapin.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah. And it's one of those where we say it year after year where there's some rivalry matchups where one team expects to win and one doesn't. And like that's maybe the thing here is where Lugoff-Elgin has more of a mental hurdle than anything really. Can they get over the hump? But, we had Coach Jarvis Littlejohn on this offseason, kind of interviewed him once he got the official head coach job. And we asked him about this game, and he seemed kind of excited. Like he felt like they may have something for the Bulldogs this year. I think I'm going to take Lugoff-Elgin at home over at the confines, John. A good group there, an explosive group. I'm thinking high-scoring game. Maybe Richardson goes off, late touchdown. Maybe a kick return, punt return. I don't know. I got Lugoff-Elgin in a close one at home. I think they end the streak here and get a victory. What do you think, Jerel? What do you in the chat say about this ball game? Camden at Lugoff-Elgin.
So disappointed in John, just taking the easy route here. I mean, I just can't believe that he
so
did
many
that.
times, girl.
I know, but you gotta jump on you gotta drink some of the Kool-Aid here. I just can't believe that you did that. I'm gonna join Kevin. I'm gonna pick Lugoff-Elgin to win this game. I don't be surprised if this ends up on the graphic as a points factory game as well. I think these offenses are gonna go back and forth. I'm really excited. Like Kevin said, I think that's the X factor. I think that the defense, whatever defense makes the most stops, is going to be able to kind of win this game and be the decider here. But I like Lugoff. They're at home. They got momentum. They got some confidence. I mean, eventually, you can't lose all of them. So I think the Demons are poised to win here. So I'm excited for it.
And they come pretty close.
I think it's super important for Lugoff-Elgin to start fast in this game. Maybe get an early touchdown, get up 7-0, something like that. Don't come out too shaky. Don't get behind early because that's when, kind of mentally it starts to weigh on you. I think if you get an early score, know that you're in the ball game, that would be huge for the momentum there for the Demons.
Yeah, most definitely. You got to get the crowd involved. Like you said, got to get that momentum. You got to just have that belief again. As someone who played for a losing football program, I mean, that mental edge it's a real thing. And like, you have to have that sort of belief that you can win this game, especially going into it, but more so when the game actually begins, because if they go down 2 scores or something pretty early in this game, it's the here we go again, type situation. And I hope that's not the case for the Demons this week.
What do we got in the chat, Jerel, on this big 3A, 4A rivalry matchup? Zach says, sorry, John, Camden by 3 touchdowns.
I think John's with you on that one, Zach.
I'd like to think we're going to be closer than that.
Travis has got Camden 38-24. Brandon says, going with Lugoff-Elgin 31-24. Tank's got Camden by 10. Rayleigh said hard to pick against Camden. It certainly is one of the better programs in the state over the past decade, 15, even 20 years going back. Steven says Camden wins.
Yeah, that's all we have for this game. I'm going to throw some additional comments up that we got in the chat. Actually, I've got another one here.
Tyler says he believes Camden will be pretty good this year. I think so too, especially dropping down a class. Certainly will be a competitor there in lower state 3A. Rock Hill Cummins says young family. They certainly are. They burst on the scene last Friday. Saw that on firsthand. Big win for Coach Bulware's Bearcats, excuse me. Checking in, went to Northwestern Huff on Saturday. Northwestern maybe the third best team in Rock Hill. Oh, wow, I misread that.
Yeah.
And that's tough. You lose to Huff, a nationally ranked Huff by 5, and you're the third best team in your city. How about that?
Hey, they're the only one that lost last week.
That's right. Boss Man says Strom Thurmond in the building.
All right, guys, let's go to the next game.
Let's get to that one. Our third CONA game of the week. Another top-ranked matchup here. The Strom Thurmond Rebels at 1-0, traveling to take on the 1-0 Abbeville Panthers over at Heights Stadium. John, the Rebels, a big 21-7 victory over North Augusta last week. The Panthers, they played on Thursday. They got a victory 35-33 over Saluda. What do you like in this ball game, John? 2 programs that have been really good for a long time, and I feel like they're both really good again this season.
I like the scoreboard operator in this game. I think we could see a lot of points in this game. Abbeville won that close one, 35-33 last week over Saluda. Strom Thurmond, who I picked against them last week. I thought, hey, North Augusta, they're going to be bigger. They're going to have a little more depth, and they're going to wear them down. Not the case. Strom Thurmond smothered them last week. That was really, really impressive win for them. I think we're going to see some points, though. I think we're going to see a lot of scores in this game. I think Abbeville is very talented. They're gonna be able to score, move the ball on Strom Thurmond. But I think this Strom Thurmond team, again, hey, let's overreact over 1 week, but I'm gonna do it. I think they're a really good team. I think they might win this game by a couple scores.
Yeah, on the Strom Thurmond side, last week, quarterback A.J. Hillary didn't really get going. They got to get him going this week. Didn't have to throw it a lot. They may have to use that arm some this week against the Panthers. Running backs Caden Wigfall, Zy Rouse had 2 touchdowns. Preston Holmes all had 50-plus yards as well. Defensively, they were awesome. Gregory Moore, 8 tackles at TFL. Wytravius Duger, 7 tackles at TFL. Bellamy, 2 TFLs. McQuay Quiller on the back end was great. Rouse had a big pick and a run back, set up another score there. Special teams, Holmes had a 95-yard touchdown return, I believe, there to kind of really get them going. That group was super impressive on defense and special teams. Offense left a little bit to be desired. Got to figure that out, but it was week 1 against a good North Augusta opponent. On the Panthers side, Jamarion Williams, 15 for 177 and 3 touchdowns last week on the ground. Kingston Marshall and Jameer Killingsworth also options for them. Quarterback Jacob Wilson plays well, leads that offense. Defensively, they're big up front. They gave up some passing yards. So I wonder how Strom Thurmond will attack this. Last week, like I said, Hillary didn't really get going. This is a max prep stat. Had him, I think, for 1 for 11. I don't know if that's right or not, but you would think maybe they saw some things from a Saluda. We can kind of get that pass game going. We shall see. I actually think, John, this might be a low-scoring game. I was super impressed with that Rebels defense, the way they locked down a solid Yellow Jackets offense with with Tillman and Hatcher in that group. They held them to 7 points. Some big goal-to-go stands was really impressive for me. And then on the flip side, I don't love their offense yet. I think they got some things to work out there, honestly. Abbeville, we know they can score, but I think that run defense for the Rebels, the speed they've got on that side of the football, will cause some problems for, I think, Coach Nichols' squad. I think Thurmond wins this one on the road. Great atmosphere, as always. Two fan bases that are great. I think they win it. I think it's kind of low scoring, maybe like a 21-14 game, somewhere in that ballpark I could see. But I think the Rebels go to 2-0 on the road this Friday night. Any more comments from you, Jerel, or the chat on this 1A, 2A matchup?
Two teams I hate picking against. I mean,
yes.
Usually when I'm picking these guys, it's usually to win. So this one's going to be a little tough. But I think Thurmond wins this game again. Like that defense, like I was really shocked by that result. I thought North Augusta was going to win that football game, held those guys to a touchdown. So that shows a lot. But that's the thing. Defense travels. And when you have a good defense, you can figure out the offense. So I think that's the case here. Again, I think Abbeville's one of those programs. Again, they're not going to lose many games. I think they lose this one, but as they progress through the season, we'll be picking them to win a lot of football games here.
I believe I saw they had 10 straight 10-win seasons before last season. I think they ended up with 9 last year. So crazy stuff there for Coach Nichols and the Panthers bunch, man. It's going to be a fun one. I think it's a tight game. Would not be surprised, especially at home, if Abbeville does win. But I think just what I saw out of Strom Thurmond, that defense really impressed me. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I do want one of the best environments. So if you're in South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina, surrounding areas, if you're within a couple hours, go check that one out. It's going to be a really fun game.
Ryan says Abbeville.
It does not feel like a 1A game.
No, yeah. Abbeville and Thurmond both look one-dimensional, says Ryan. And that's kind of how I felt. Last week I thought Abbeville's offense great, defense not really good. Strom Thurmond defense great, offense kind of shaky. So we'll see which side can step up more this week to complement the other better. Boston says Strom Thurmond defense is not Saluda. I agree with that. I think they're a little better on that side of the football. Dante's got Rebels 28-14. Travis says Strom Thurmond 41-35 in a shootout there.
I like that.
David says Thurmond Abbeville should be a dogfight. Abbeville 20-17 should be a good one. Two storied programs for sure. Tank says Thurmond defense is strong. He likes the Rebels. Brandon says Thurmond very impressive. He'll take them 28-13 over Abbeville. Dion's got 28-10 Thurmond.
Chris, I'm not going to put your comment up. You know why? I'm going to throw up some other comments as well. Did I throw this one up there yet?
Zach says hard pick against Abbeville at home, but Thurmond defense different animal. Proved it last night. It certainly did. And another just awesome non-region game we're going to get to see here on Friday. Jerel says Northwestern Huff was insane. Yes, 2 really good football teams there. No doubt about that. Roquez says people are rating Oceanside losing. That was the first time it was live with pads. Yeah, and that's one thing too we'll talk about Roquez. Like the poll, they get dropped down by losing to a really good 5A team. I'm like, whatever. It's not our poll, That's how it goes. But I agree. I think they're still probably the favorite in 3A in my opinion right now. Terry says Abbeville may not see the end zone versus Thurmond. 35-0 says Boss Man.
Whoa.
Strom Thurmond fans coming in hot. Abbeville, fight back. Guys, let's go to the next game.
Our 4th CONA game of the week, a massive 5A matchup in the upstate. The Byrnes Rebels traveling to take on the Dorman Cavaliers. Both teams 1-0. Usually a region matchup here, John, between these two, but the recent realignment, they are in separate regions now. The Rebels, kind of an odd week for them, man. They get a 7-0 win over Independence, a game that was called midway through the first quarter. Dorman, a lightning delayed, played till I think 12:30 at night, 40-30 victory over Hillcrest. Two teams that I think are very, very good. They're very high in the polls, and they certainly deserve to be. Byrnes, led by running back Trey Segura, the LSU commit, 1,500 yards last year, 17 touchdowns, had a touchdown in the game Friday before it was called. Also, counterpart Jacoby Fuller is a weapon in the backfield. Quarterback Walker Burdett started for the Rebels last week. I think he is the guy for them, it seems like. We'll see. I know there's a bit of a competition there over the offseason. Receiver Chu Harris, a Syracuse commit, did not play last week. I don't think he's back for this game. That is a big loss if he is out. Defensively, defensive back Aiden Wiggins, the Auburn commit. Linebacker Nazir Ingram lead the defensive side there for Coach Shaw. The Dorman side, all about the run game. Nick Means, 125 rushing, 2 touchdowns. Also had 65 receiving yards and another touchdown for the Cavs. Carter Nash ran for 115. And then Jabez Thomas at the Wildcat spot ran for another 78 and 2 more touchdowns. They ran for 342 on Hillcrest last week, John. Quarterback Cooper Patterson threw a couple touchdowns to Anthony Peaks. Wide receiver Juice Watkins-Himes, the playmaker as well. Defensively led by James Porter up front and then Jabez Thomas on the back end. 2 teams, John, it's always a good rivalry when they get together. I think it's really tight overall. The series should be another great one on Friday over at Cavalier Stadium.
Yeah, this will be a lot of fun. 2 very talented teams. You know, that Dorman game last week with Hillcrest was a lot of what we thought it would be. You know, a tight game, hard-fought game. Hillcrest put up a lot of points. I'm disappointed that the Byrnes game got cut so short because we really didn't get to see much out of Byrnes that you'd like to see in one game. But I think that favors the Rebels going into this game. I know we talk about a huge jump from week 1 to week 2, but I think, you get a little bit of live action, you get a little bit of, real game experience, but also you're really, really fresh too. You've got a whole week to prepare for Dorman, to game plan, and you come into this game very fresh. I think that's going to help Byrnes. And this is a really tough game for me to pick because I could see this game going either way, but I see more positives for Byrnes than I do Dorman. Dorman did give up a lot of points last week to Hillcrest. Hillcrest offense is really good, so I can't blame them too much on that, but I thought they would be a little bit tighter in week 1 defensively than they were. And there's just so much talent on this Byrnes team, on defense, on offense as well. They're going to be ready for this game. This is going to be a really, really good one. Dorman's got to be able to pass the ball a little bit as well. They ran the ball really well last week, and that's great. I think they got to be a little more two-dimensional in this ball game with the Rebels because of that defense that Byrnes presents. This will be a great game to watch. I won't be surprised, whoever comes out and wins this game. But I'm going to go with the Rebels. I think just simply I think they got a little bit edge on the talent perspective. I think I know it's week 2, but they're going to come in very, very fresh. And I think that's going to bode well for them too.
This is, maybe the best running back matchup I think we'll see in the state this week. You got 2 guys on both teams with Fuller and Segura against Means and Nash. Dorman to be a great matchup there on the ground with those 2. A key to think about, John, last week, Hillcrest ran a kickback for a touchdown against Dorman. Watch out. Byrnes has speed back there with whether it's Fuller or Harris, if he plays whoever it is. Certainly a lot of speed in the return game, so be careful there if you're a Cavaliers, special teams player. Could be a key to a close game like this. Last year, Dorman won this game 33-21. Kind of handled Byrnes pretty well, it felt like there. I lean to the fact that I think playing the full game maybe helps Dorman a little bit to kind of getting the conditioning there and whatnot. And I like that for a fact that they've had a chance to play a full matchup and didn't get cut short like Byrnes did there. But should be a great ball game, man. This was another one that we could see a lot of points in. I do worry or wonder about the Dorman passing attack. They didn't have to throw it much last week. Patterson didn't throw it a whole lot. They brought in Thomas some for the Wildcat stuff. He's really slippery on offense for them. Got Nick Means involved in the passing game some. I like what Dorman did. And Byrnes, I feel like I just don't know enough about yet how they're going to play. And I'm not sold on the quarterback spot either. It was a battle there with Merib and Burdett. It looks like Burdett, I think, won that. So you think you would get a healthy dose of Cigar and Fuller on the Byrnes side this week. But I like Dorman at home in a close one. But 2 teams that are going to be right there at the end in 5A, it feels like. But I like that squad there with the Cavaliers. Jerel, who do you like in this ball game? What's your pick, and what's the chat saying about Byrnes and Dorman?
This one's difficult for me as well because I think these teams are pretty evenly matched. Yep. When it comes to a rivalry game, I like to lean towards the home team as well. You make a great point that, Dorman actually did play a full game. A lot of these keys, like the quarterback position for both sides, are kind of unsettled, so I think that kind of equals things out. But I'm going to pick Byrnes simply for the fact of I'm stubborn. I'm a little bit higher on this Byrnes team. I think this is their chance to kind of make a run and kind of restore some of that old Byrnes glory. And I'm going to field goal game here. I think Byrnes goes in and wins this one, but I would not be shocked if Dorman is the victor here. But I like Byrnes to win it. my heart's telling me Dorman, my head's telling me Byrnes. I don't know if that's opposite or whatever, but yeah, leaning Byrnes here.
I love it. What's the chat saying about this big time matchup? Steven says Byrnes wins. Dante says Byrnes wins 34-31. We've got another pick for Dorman by 3. Byrnes 35-24 over Dorman. Brandon says it's a tough one. He'll take Byrnes 38-31. David says, don't forget Bentley's the OC. He's got the Rebels 28-20. That's a great point there. Schuler Bentley back now for Byrnes, calling the plays. Didn't get to see a lot of his action last week. Can't wait to see him with a full game under his belt. Ryan says, definitely Byrnes' year. Brandon says, yes, Byrnes, Dorman will be on TV in the upstate. That'll be a good one to watch for sure. Good. Trey Segura for 150 plus 3 touchdowns, says Zach. Terry says, shout out to Reggie. Shaw has her defense turned and fired up as a DC back at Fairfield Central in the day. Yes, Coach Shaw has certainly been around the state and done a great job everywhere.
I remember those Fairfield Central teams. They were nasty on defense.
So good. So good.
Bradley's got the Rebels sliding by in his game of the week.
Yeah, so everyone's leaning Byrnes in this one. Again, I think it's more of a toss-up than what we're seeing, but should be a fantastic football. Again, another one. I think next week we're going to be talking about this one, and we're going to be overreacting like some of those matchups that we saw this past week, and we're doing today. So
can't wait.
You mentioned Byrnes like you think it's their time, Jerel, and I kind of agree with you because it feels like they have not won that big game the last couple of years. Last year we saw them early on kind of not be able to seal a victory against Irmo when they had a big lead early. They gave that away. They couldn't beat Dorman. They couldn't beat Gaffney. To beat Spartanburg last year, I think they were probably more talented than Spartanburg, but it feels like a lot of times when the game is, maybe a toss-up or tight there late, they hadn't quite made the plays they need to. Can Coach Bentley and Coach Shaw get that figured out to win some ball games? This will be a big, big test, and it will be a big, I think, measuring stick for both squads here this week. But now our 5th CONA game of the week, going to the SCISA ranks here, John. Northside Christian 2-0, traveling to Thomas Sumter, who is 1-0. The Crusaders 55-16 over Thornwell last week. Quarterback BJ Suits 8 for 10, $117, ran it for 128 and 4 touchdowns. Jackson, Freeman, and Weston also weapons on offense there for Northside Christian. Thomas Sumter blanked Carolina 44-0. Zion Williams, $185 and 2 touchdowns. Head coach Stacy Bell, year 3 for him. They have really been trending upwards, winning more and more games every year. He's done a great job there with the Generals. Quarterback Jace Williams, a big-time player. Receivers Spencer Peckham, Clay Team, Joseph Andrade, and Braylon Corsi. They have 8 starters back on offense, John. Defensively, Ryan Black Centron is a leader. Linebacker Sanjay Hester's a great player, along with Andrade and Team on the back end. Thomas Sumter jumping up in class this year, going to a bigger 3A level there. They have not been good the past few years. They've been going the right direction. I feel like they are good now. Northside Christian, a team that has been pretty stable, it feels like, the last few years in that Midlands area for the SCISA ranks. Who do you like in this ball game, John? Should be a really fun one, I think, over at Thomas Sumter on Friday night.
Yeah, so this Sumter team, they got beat by Carolina Academy last year. This year they avenged that and they shut them out. 44-0. I mean, that, you talk about, hey, let's use a measuring stick on how much we're getting better. I like Thomas Sumter in this game. They were very impressive last week, and they're at home. I'm going to take Thomas Sumter to win this one.
I like that as well. I feel like Northside Christian a little bit too dependent on just the quarterback spot there, running and throwing. I don't know if they can get somebody else involved in this game. We'll see. But I like the Thomas Sumter defense. I think they win this game at home as well. Should be a nail-biter. But I like the Generals on Friday. Jerel, who do you like? What do you think about this Northside Christian Thomas Sumter football matchup?
Let's split the pot. I'm going to go Northside Christian on this one. I like to keep it interesting. We can't go all 3. We can't really end up on a screen somewhere. But I like Northside to go in. Like you said, a more stable program right now, but I am impressed what Thomas Sumter has done over the last couple of years. What they did last week is extremely impressive in their first matchup. But I like them to go to 1-1. I like Northside Christian to win this one.
So once again, our 5 CONA games of the week, we had Hilton Head Island at Bamberg-Ehrhardt, Camden at Lugoff-Elgin, Strom Thurmond at Abbeville, Byrnes at Dorman, and then Northside Christian at Thomas Sumter for our SCISA game of the week. Those are brought to you by our friends at CONA. If you missed any of those, you can always go back when the show is over and check them out. It will live on YouTube and Facebook forever. Go check those out at the beginning of the show. Jerel, Let's shout out some friends of the program, come back and go through the rest of the statewide slate, break down everything 5A down through 1A and SCISA after the break here.
Founders Federal Credit Union means banking made for you. The on the go, the pick up and go, and the I want to go. Because at Founders, we give you the financial tools that make every dollar work for you. For the little things to the big things. For your future and your peace of mind. We'll always stay grounded in our roots, but reaching beyond what you'd expect is where we'll always go. Find out what our members already know and enjoy a new way to bank. Relax, you're with Founders.
With 3 convenient locations in Spartanburg, Duncan, and Greenville, Carolina Orthopedic and Neurosurgical Associates, CONA, offers the most advanced training and experience in orthopedic surgery, neurosurgery, sports medicine, and pain management in the upstate. Go to CONA.care to learn more.
All right, John, let's start with the 5A ranks. Do you want me to shout out the Thursday games, or do you have those pulled up as well? I know we've, like I mentioned earlier, a couple games getting moved, and there's probably going to be more moved, too, that we don't have written down yet here across the state in every class, it seems like.
Yeah, I think you've got more than I do, so you go ahead on the Thursday slate.
Perfect. The only one I see for 5A currently is Richland Northeast at Blythewood. How about that R&E program? I don't know if you guys saw it or not. There was a heck of a post-game clip from head coach DeMarcus Simons after their big win over Spring Valley, a big rivalry game last Friday. He kind of had some fun with the post-game presser, yelled a little bit and shouted out some stuff and talked some junk. And it was pretty cool to see the excitement coming out of him. He's like, people said that we couldn't do this, and now here we are. And a big win for R&E, a team that was really good 2 years ago, kind of a down year last year. New head coach coming in, man. Super happy for that Cavs bunch. A great win last Friday over Spring Valley. Yeah,
it's there's going to be a lot of people out there going to spiel from Spring Valley this year. So great to get the rivalry win, but I think you got 9 games ahead of you that might be a little bit tougher.
Yeah, that's the only Thursday I've got for 5A right now, John. If you want to look at the rest of the statewide slate on Friday and even Saturday as well.
Yeah, we'll start with that Spring Valley program. They will be at Harry Perrone Stadium, and they'll welcome in Irmo. It's going to be a tough get-back game on that one with the Yellow Jackets coming to town.
Yeah, Irmo needs to kind of a get-right game, man. Did not look great on Friday. Played a lot better the second half. Obviously, still too many penalties, too many mental mistakes. Got to clean that up, but you think that they're certainly a more talented team than Spring Valley. I think Coach Brand's bunch gets a win this Friday.
Down the lower state, we've got Wando hosting May River.
I'm intrigued by May River. New head coach coming in. They're going to spread it out some. They're not going to run the old slot T anymore. Didn't get to play last week. We'll see how week 1 goes, or I guess week 2 goes for that that May River bunch. But excited to watch them under Coach Nimmer.
And then we have got boy, I am messing all kind of up here. All right, we're back. Fort Dorchester will be at home against Berkeley. We've got Hillcrest hosting Somerville. That's a sneaky, really good game right there.
And that game, I'm intrigued by it. Somerville looked really good against Sumter last week. Ethan DeWater stepped in at quarterback, played great. Javen Williams played great. Teru Davis out wide defensively with King and Pounds' group. They held a pretty potent Somerville offense or Sumter offense in check there. It felt like that was a really nice win for them. Answered a lot of questions it felt like we had about Somerville last Friday. Hillcrest, mentioned them earlier, on the road, tough loss to Dorman. Got down 10 early, couldn't ever really get back there. Jackson Free got kind of banged up late. Not sure his status for this Friday. I hope he's back and healthy there for the Rams. But one other point here, John, we got to mention, this game is actually going to be played at Serene Stadium down at Greenville due to the turf not being ready at Hillcrest yet. You know what? I want to talk about that for a minute. And this might get us in trouble. I don't know. We'll have somebody on the program to talk about it. Feel free. So if you guys missed it, Greenville County decided they were going to, put turf in at every stadium this offseason. Well, we're sitting here now, August 25th, and we got, I think, 4 schools that aren't ready yet. I don't know how you messed that up, but, we've got Riverside. Their first home game is 9/11. They hope it'll be ready for them. The target completion date was 8/7, little past that. Eastside first home game 9/18. Target date was 8/7, little past that. Hope they're ready. But then Hillcrest and Fountain Inn, the target date was 8/21. Hillcrest's first home game was going to be this Friday, 8/28. Not ready for that one. And then Fountain Inn's first home game was next Friday, 9/4. They may not be ready. And what sucks about this, like you look at next Friday, we've got Fountain Inn hosting Hillcrest. The first real matchup between what should be a pretty good rivalry game was going to be at Fountain Inn, a huge gate there for the Fury. They may have to move that game to Wade Hampton High School. I mean, think about how much money Fountain Inn is going to lose because they don't get to play that game at home. That's
a hike.
On top of that, you're a senior. You're losing 20% of your home games because you Greenville County couldn't get it together. Like, I understand you contract this stuff out and you got dates and whatnot, but you got to stay on top of this. Somehow Greenville gets done in time, Wade Hampton's done in time, Woodmont's done in time, but you got half the daggum schools, it feels like, not ready, which is just frustrating to me. I know there's more that goes into it. I understand that there's budgets and different people that got to get paid on a certain time, and you got certain timelines, but it's got to be aggravating for the programs, the booster clubs, the players, especially. I mean, if you miss one home game, that's a lot of money that you're losing. And I mean, I don't care if you get to keep the gate from Greenville High or whatever it is. You would get more money if the game was played at your home stadium. So just really frustrating there this hadn't been worked out, that you've got this problem across Greenville. Hopefully they'll get them fixed and ready for the next games. I don't know. But just a tough look there that the Rams get to play Somerville not at home.
And I used to live outside of Fountain Inn, and that's a beautiful high school. And it's, they just built that stadium, maybe 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah.
And we're already ripping the grass out of it and putting in turf.
Yeah.
As a taxpayer, I don't love that.
Money, that saves money.
But hey, that's me. Back to football.
Sorry.
Back to good things. We got Orangeburg-Wilkinson will be hosting RB Stall. I like OW to win that game.
They looked good last week. I know they're going up to a 5A program. I think they're a better team. I think OW wins again big.
We got Chapin hosting Brooklyn-Casey.
Chapin impressed me in a loss to Lugoff-Elgin, man. That was a young bunch that didn't win a game last year. New head coach Corey Helms comes in. They've been competitive, and the Jamborees look good. Hung around last week. Lugoff-Elgin. I think they're going to be better than people think. I think this season.
Yeah, did not win a game last year, so I think they get a good chance this Friday. St. James will be at home against Socastee. Greenwood hosting Spartanburg. That should be a fun game there. J.O. Mann at home against Gaffney. Woodmont hosting Southside Christian. Cane Bay will be at home against Stratford. Rock Hill coming off the big win against Irmo. They'll host Ashley Ridge on Friday. That's a decent matchup there.
And now the Bearcats, you got to back it up. Like you made a statement last Friday. You put the state on notice. Now you got a solid Ashley Ridge team coming in. You got to do it again. And I think they can. Coach Bullware's bunch was really impressive. Had a great game plan last week, I thought, on both sides of the football. Tons of weapons out wide. Offensive line held up better than I thought. They did a great job getting some quick passes and was spreading out that Irmo defensive line. But the defensive line for the Bearcats really impressed me. Jay-Sean Culp up front was a monster. I think what they're doing on that side of the football is really, really good. I think that Rock Hill team is for real. I think they get another big win here on Friday.
I think so, too. Two teams playing their first game. Ridgeview will be hosting Dutch Fork.
Ridgeview, a team that people like a lot, but I think they're just not as good as Dutch Fork right now. The Silver Foxes have so much talent, man. They brought in even more talent. You get the Millers coming in and Peyton Bishop coming in to go along with what you already got with Jackson Knotts and Brody Lorenzo and Tadrick Gibson and Jaden Worth. I mean, it's just so many names there for Coach Knotts' bunch. I think Dutch Fork wins this game, man. They're just a really good football team, and they probably win by a lot.
I think so, too. Ridgeview has been very good the last few years. I think this is a Ridgeview team that may take a step back from those teams the last couple of years. And even those last few teams, they've been, relatively competitive with Dutch Fork, but not to a degree where I think they've got a real legitimate shot at winning this game. I
mean, last year they had them on the ropes. Like that was a very tight game late. So a little maybe revenge factor there for Dutch Fork. After that one, we'll see.
Could be. We talked about this, one of our CONA games of the week. Dorman hosting Byrnes. We've got Carolina Forest at home against Conway. Malden will be hosting Greenville. We've got Crestwood hosting Goose Creek. White Knoll will travel to Sumter.
Sumter, quarterback Franklin Richardson went down with an injury against Somerville last week. Not sure his status. I believe he is out for this game. If so, that's a big loss for the Gamecocks. You hate to see that early on in the season, but hopefully he'll be back before too late for Coach Marlowe.
Certainly. North Augusta at home against Lexington. Both of those teams looking for their first win.
North Augusta needs a bounce-back performance. They were not very impressive on offense last week. Defensively played okay. I felt like Lexington lost a shootout to Midland Valley. I think North Augusta gets back right and wins a game here, but they got to play better on offense. Got to get that passing game figured out.
Yeah, I think they get a win on Friday night as well in this one. Fort Mill at home against Catawba Ridge.
two sneaky good teams there. I think they're both a little better than we're giving credit for. Coach Lindeck and Coach McNeely do a great job there. Both had nice wins last Friday.
Gray will travel to River Bluff. James Island hosting South Florence. Preseason, I thought this was going to be a really good game. This, I'm not going to say this one could get ugly, but this could get ugly. James Island destroyed what we know is a really good Oceanside team last Friday. This will be an interesting game to keep eyes on on Friday here.
Yeah, James Island quarterback Brady Dantzler, his first start threw for 4 touchdowns. Receiver Rafael Puyu had a big game defensively. Rob Grant on the D-line and Bryson Bowers, the linebacker, played great for that bunch there down at James Island, down at the backyard. Man, a really big win for them. South Florence, like we mentioned, a young bunch, went on the road to Hilton Head Island, didn't quite have enough. Got to go back down the road to James Island this week. Going to be a tough game, too, for Coach Braswell's squad there. I like the Trojans in that one.
We'll have Wren at home against Eastside and wrapping up 5A Boiling Springs at home against Riverside.
Any comments? Actually, we got a Saturday game as well, John. Northwestern and Indianland will play each other over at Bank of America Stadium in the Keep Pounding Classic in Charlotte. Two teams that played twice last year. Northwestern handed Indianland their only 2 losses of the year, beat them quite handily both times. Northwestern, a really tough Saturday matchup against Huff, lost by 5 this past Saturday. Indianland had a nice win against the North Carolina squad as well to start their season, man. I feel like it's similar to last week, Northwestern, just a little too much talent, man. I think they win this game pretty handily, kind of a get-right game for them. I like Indianland a lot, especially dropping down to 4A now. I think the Trojans with Coach Walford there, too much firepower. I think they win this football game.
I think so, too.
Yeah, Jerel, comments from you or the chat on 5A. Slick says Stacks have not beat Dorchester in 17 years, but it's coming Friday. I think so, too. That Fort D team, they got something going on there. The Patriots cannot figure it out. And Berkeley, I think, is really good. Playing good football right now. I think they're in for a good season. South Florence plays better this week, but still loses. I think so, too. I think, week 2 now under Coach Braswell, they get some things figured out. But, yeah, I think that James Island team is really good. Young Family says Dorman 27-24. By the end of the season, Dorman's going to finish 3rd in their region behind Rock Hill and Northwestern. Tough region 2 there for sure for the Cavs. Brandon's got Somerville over Hillcrest in a close one.
I can see that.
That's all we have for 5A, guys. Let's jump down to 4A.
Drew, you got any comments for us? No, nothing from you?
I just love the rant. Just let those people in Greenville County know. Get it together. Get it together.
You get 5 home games, and you're losing one of them at least. You might lose 2 of them.
I'm more mad about ripping up the field at Fountain Inn after just a couple years.
It saves money, John.
Keep natural grass. Come on, guys.
Well, yeah, that's another topic for another day. We're natural turf boys. I saw your tweet about the pellets in your shoes. Hate that. Hate walking on the sidelines with that. But yeah, no. Greenville County, get it together. These guys want to play at home. And again, it does affect those gates. I mean, these are teams, obviously, the ones that are we think are going to have some playoff games and probably make that up down the road. But again, not even just the gate, but like you can't sell any Booster Club merch there. Yeah. Like, I mean, you're the concessions, you're probably leaving wherever you're playing is probably getting concession money. Same with the parking money. Like that's a lot of money you're losing there. Especially, I just look at that big game, Fountain Inn Hillcrest. Like they need to play that game at Fountain Inn. I hope it gets fixed in time, but I have not heard that it is. So yeah. When it comes to high school football, you always think about the seniors too. Again, you only get so many opportunities to play at home your last season of football. So that's what makes me sad. But let's go to 4A.
Yeah, I do have one 4A game, John, on Thursday right now. We've got Gilbert at AC Flora, 2 1-0 teams. Gilbert, a big win over Nation 4, kind of surprised me last week. AC Flora, a nice win over White Knoll. But let's look at the Friday slate now in 4A, John.
We got 2 teams that are going to travel over to Georgia to play an opponent. We got Midland Valley going to Lakeside, and we've got Westside heading over to Jefferson. That'll be a fun game against Jefferson.
Yeah, Jefferson, typically a very good football team there, but Westside, I think, is the real deal, man. They are playing, lights out even just one game into the season. The offense is clicking on all cylinders there with Tajay Watson-Martin, Jaden White, Bear Woods, of course. I think Coach Lane's bunch is in for a big year.
We'll talk about this here in a moment. They've gotten a lot of respect in today's poll that just came out as well. In the mountains, we've got Blue Ridge hosting Travelers Rest. One of our CONA games of the week we talked about earlier. Hilton Head travels to Bamberg-Ehrhardt. Should be a great game there. Great environment there for sure. Fox Creek at home against Silver Bluff. York will travel to Lancaster.
York, a surprising big victory over Westwood last week. I think shut them out. Played really well there for Coach Boyd. I'm looking interested to see what these two teams have. Two teams that I think maybe better than we thought going into the year. Lancaster and York both there, John. And then flip back to that Silver Bluff game. Silver Bluff, I'm worried about those guys. Got hammered by South Aiken last Friday. I don't know what to make of that program right now, for sure.
Fox Creek looking for their first win too.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Wilson hosting Hampton County. South Point at home against Nation Ford. North Augusta at home against Lexington. Easley will be at home against Pendleton. Keenan travels to Dreer. Airport at home against South Aiken.
And now this is the game where I want to see South Aiken back it up. Like so, they hammered Silver Bluff last week. Offense looked really good for Coach Hamilton's bunch. Can they do it 2 weeks in a row? We'll see on Friday.
The 1-0 Southside Tigers will travel to Wade Hampton. See if they can get a 2-0. That'll be something there.
Southside snapped a 31-game losing streak. First win since 2022 on Friday. How about that, man? Awesome win for Coach Mills' bunch there.
Yeah, I hope those kids got to celebrate. That's awesome. Union will be at home against Greer. Gaffney travels to JL Mann. Boiling Springs at home against Riverside. Bluffton will head down to Georgia to play Laney High School. And we've got Bishop England at home against Lucy Beckham.
I like that matchup there. Bishop England, a nice win last week for Porter. Lucy Beckham, dropping down this year. I think they're a good team as well for Coach Smith there. This will tell us a lot about both those teams. I think they're both pretty solid, but we'll see who comes out on top on Friday.
I like Lucy Beckham in this game. I'm not sold on Bishop England yet, but I won 4 games last week, so I can be proven wrong pretty easy. We've got Buford at home against Whale Branch. Powdersville hosting TL Hanna. I don't know that we've seen this game before. If we have, I don't recall, but I'm glad they're playing each other. This is a great matchup here.
Yeah, TL Hanna, I don't know what to make of them. They were, down big to BHP early last week, came back, and I think won maybe a last-second field goal. They won is a really tight ball game there. Powdersville, I think, is pretty good. TL Hanna, maybe they don't have as quite a good a team this year. I don't know, or maybe it's just the BHP always plays them tough. Hard to say, but we'll learn a lot more about the Yellow Jackets this Friday.
Clover on the road against Westwood. Clinton will be hosting Lawrence. We talked about that, the Lawrence County Championship. That'll be a fun ball game.
Yeah, Lawrence has looked really good on offense. Last week in week 1, Logan Bragg, I think, I can't remember his total numbers, had an awesome game throwing and running the football. They looked great in the Jamboree the week before for Coach Porter's bunch there. They gave up a lot of points to AJL, man. They did do that, but they scored a ton, man. Really impressive there for the Raiders. Clinton, game 1 for them, didn't play last week. They got some pieces back, of course, with Gilliam and Cromer and all those guys there. I mean, they've got a good squad. We'll see how for real Lawrence is on Friday. It's hard for me to pick them to beat Clinton because I feel like it has not even been really competitive the last several years. I'm going with the Red Devils at home in this one over at Wilder Stadium. But I do think Lawrence is better. We'll see how much better this Friday. Yeah,
good measuring stick here. Measuring stick game here for Lawrence. But, yeah, I got to go Clinton in this game too. Got Fountain Inn traveling to Woodruff.
I like that game. This was a super close one last year. Fountain Inn, a big Saturday victory in a delayed game against Greenville. Woodruff had a nice win over Broome on Friday as well. Two teams that can score a lot of points. I think Fountain Inn can go 2-0 here. I think what they're doing on both sides of the football is really impressive. I think Woodruff still trying to figure out a few pieces there with with the departure of Gibson and Lyle stepping in there trying to figure out how they're going to make things work. But I think Fountain Inn's a good team, man. We're both really high on them with like this year.
Yeah, I expect the Fury to win this game as well. Myrtle Beach at home against Dillon.
Two teams that need a win. They looked not great last week. Myrtle Beach hammered by Marlborough County. Dillon hammered by Camden. Who's going to show up? I don't know on Friday.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one to watch. I like Dillon in that game. Malden hosting Greenville. Swansea at home against Aiken. Hartsville hosting West Florence.
West Florence played Saturday, so did Hartsville. Hartsville hammered Wilson. West Florence, a nail-biter. They're late for Coach Wilkes' bunch. I think Ford Wallace and that Hartsville group there is really talented for Coach Calabrese. I like those guys a lot. West Florence still trying to kind of figure it out. I think they scored 14 points, get the offense going there this week. And I do want to shout out Aiken, Swansea. Aiken might go 2-0 this week, John. That team's got some more talent than they've had in the past couple of years, it feels like. Brandon Post and Gray Kitchens, that group there. I think Coach Hibbets is getting them heading in the right direction.
We could see Aiken and Southside 2-0 after that Friday. That would be who had that on their bingo card.
That's right.
Darlington will be at home against North Myrtle Beach. One of our CONA games of the week. I can't believe I'm saying this. At Lugoff-Elgin, the Wateree rivalry. Hopefully, Demons will be River Rats no more. They'll host Camden. We talked about that game earlier in the program. That could be a fun matchup there. Could be a good chance for the Demons to notch a W on the trophy. Carolina Forest at home against Conway, and Greenwood hosting Spartanburg.
You know, I had high hopes for Conway this year, and they did not deliver. Last night, hammered by Loris, I think 41-0 for Coach Generette in game one. I do think they will get better as the season goes, but they're still obviously a good ways away from making a deep run there, it feels like. And then Greenwood, impressive victory over Riverside last week, a team that I thought maybe take a step back, put it on those guys. Hamilton and Lee had big games offensively for Coach Liner's bunch there. Jerel, comments from you on 3A from you on 4A or the chat on 4A. Brandon says Lawrence much improved. He's going with Clinton to win. Zach says going for 7 in a row in the Lawrence County Championship. Jadrian says, what's up? What's up, Jadrian? Appreciate you joining us, buddy. Thank you for being here as always. Roquez says, let's go Rams. Steven says, Watson, Martin, Lipsy, and Jay White, best receiving corps in the state. They are very, very talented for sure. I think I saw White got a Michigan offer just this week. Yep, there we go, Travis, right there. Good timing. West Side by 21, says Dion. I hope so, man. I hope they beat everybody across state lines, no doubt about it. Tank says, if Hartsville and Camden both win, got a top 3 matchup in 3A in Camden next Friday. That'll be a great ball game. Always fun. I think the South's oldest rivalry is that game. I think 100-plus years they've played, something like that. Just crazy. Drill, is that right? I feel like 100-plus years says it feels too long now that I said it. Maybe it's not.
No. It's right because we went. What did we go 5 years ago? And it was right there. So I think it's been over 100 years now. Great game. If you were in that area, go check that one out for sure. I'm sure we'll talk about it again next week. And you guys put some respect on the Battle of the Boonies, TR versus Blue Ridge. It's going to be a fantastic matchup there in the foothills of South Carolina. But guys, let's go on to 3A.
Let's look down at the 3A ranks now, John. I got no games on Thursday. I think we're good to go at the Friday slate.
Yeah, on Friday, Andrews will be hosting Georgetown. Walhalla at home against Chapman.
Chapman, a nice delayed win over Eastside. I think they started Thursday, had to get pushed back to Friday. I'm telling you, Coach Cav's bunch, I think, is much improved this year. I think they're going to be good.
It's good to see. I want to see Chapman good again because that's a really fun environment to go to a game if you haven't been to Chapman, especially when they're good. Oceanside will be hosting, and I don't know how to tell you this.
Cannon.
I think two schools put together, Concord and Cannon.
Cannon. Yep. Cannon.
You could have 3 or 4 schools. I don't think they're going to beat Oceanside. Swansea will be at home against Aiken. Loris. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Loris will be at home against Green Sea Floyds.
The Lions, big win.
Impressive. Very impressive over Conway last week. King Street hosting Hanahan.
Huge win for the Hawks. Held off a last-second rally from Philip Simmons, stopped a 2-point conversion to win. I think we're all very high on Philip Simmons. Hanahan, kind of a surprise winning that football game, man. They looked great. Under Coach Turner. I think they go to 2-0, man. Maybe Hanahan is a team to look out for this year.
I certainly think so. That was an impressive win last week for sure. West Oak travels to Berea. A little rivalry game here. St. Joseph's hosting Christ Church.
Christ Church, I think that game got called first quarter against Malden last week. They didn't get a full matchup. So interesting to see how much, it takes to kind of get into the groove and get into the swing of things this week. St. James, a nice one over Blue Ridge last Friday. But I think Christ Church is probably the better football team. I think they should win this one, even though it's on the road.
I think so, too. Emerald at home against Newberry.
I like that game. I like that game.
That is a fun game right there.
I like Emerald a lot. We talked about it every week. Chris Dean, Bo Height, Desiree Christian, Colson Marino. Really good group ever coached DuBose. Newberry, Sincere Glimpse at quarterback, played great for Coach Jeter. A young bunch, lost a lot of talent off of the last couple of years' squads. But they had a nice win over Union County last week. I think Emerald's better if they win this game at home. But Newberry is a team that I'm still kind of feeling out, trying to see how good they are this year.
Lower Richland be hosting Lakewood. This is probably
Lakewood 0-10 last year. Got a win last Friday. Hats off, Coach Devlin, man. Love to see that.
Well, to go Gators. This is probably the biggest non-CONA game of the week that we've got on the slate. Daniel hosting Belton Honeypath. Big time game here for 3A. You think Daniel is going to win this game, but man, I feel like every time I think BHP, I don't know, hey, they're playing TL Hanna, probably not going to win. They almost win. Sometimes they do beat TL Hanna. BHP seems to show up in a lot of these games where you don't think they're going to win. I don't think they're going to win Friday, but I could see this being a much closer and much more competitive game than maybe some people think.
And like Jacob said earlier, 5 of the last 6 upper state champions came out of this matchup here between the two. BHP, hot start last week, couldn't really continue that momentum there, lost a late one to TL Hanna. Daniel was in a dogfight with Bryn for a long time. I think I like that Daniel offense a little bit more right now, a little more solidified with Wembley and Grass and Bibb and that crew there. I think BHP still trying to figure it out. I think they got a young quarterback, a freshman or a sophomore starting for them. It'll take a little while to get him, really up and rolling. I think Daniel at home wins that football game.
Staying in the upstate, we got Liberty at home against Seneca.
Intrigued by this one. Seneca, I think, is good, maybe not quite as good as last year. I still think they're a good team. You lost to Powdersville last week. Liberty, first game for them, first game for head coach Bobby Ruff. I think they're going to surprise people this year. I think they've got some talent there. I think they could be sneaky good in the upstate.
Down the lower state, we got North Charleston hosting Military Magnet. Crestwood at home against Goose Creek. Ainer hosting Marion.
Marion, another team that went winless last year, got a win last week under Coach Andres Perkins. Game 1, win 1 for him. Really cool to see that.
Pickens will be at home against Blacksburg, 2 1-0 squads there.
Two teams who want to run the football. Trayvon Clark, a big game last week for Blacksburg. For Pickens, Brooks Dow, Super 75 guy, South Carolina commit, one of our players of the week. And then David Bolden. I think they ran for 700 yards last week, Pickens did against Easley. So maybe a quick ball game this Friday with the clock running a lot between Coach Batchelor and Coach Reynolds squads.
Broome will travel to Chesney. Marlboro County at home against Atlantic Collegiate. See if they can continue that momentum of spanking Myrtle Beach last week.
I feel very, very good about our statement on the preview show about how we think Marlboro County is good this year. They certainly looked the part last Thursday against Myrtle Beach. No doubt about that.
1 for 1 in that department. Crescent will be at home against Palmetto, and we'll see Wren at home against Eastside.
Jerel, comments from you or the chat on the 3A slate. Keenan, 2-0 after the game against Dreer, says Special Breed. I agree. I like that Keenan squad a lot for Coach Neely. Hunter O'Neill, great running back there. I do think the Raiders get a victory. Brandon said he likes BHP over Daniel. He said finally get him this year. Zach says, is Kevin banging Laura Strom again? I wasn't going to. I was hard on the guys in the preseason show. I said I don't know if there should be that ranked high, but, man, they showed up last night. Big win over Conway. We'll see as the season gets going how good they'll be. Young says Rock Hill by at least 20 over Ashley Ridge. Go Cavs, already going for 2-0. They've got a good chance. I think they can beat that Blythewood squad. I think on Thursday night that would be. Zach says now, listens to you, Jerel. I'll let you call that one out.
I just can't believe Zach's just not. He called you out, calling me out. I mean, this is a big game.
Hey, he called me out too. He talked about how bad Camden's going to beat Lugoff. Zach, somebody made Zach mad today.
I'm telling you, I mean, he's feeling good. Clinton didn't play last week. Thurmond, big win over North Augusta. So I'm sure, week 1 was really good to Zach. So we'll check back in next week. Maybe he's calmed down and he won't be going at the co-host next week.
Ellie's got a better record than Clinton right now. So wait till he gets to the 1-0 club.
Let me see. I think we got a couple more. There we go. Good one from Brandon.
Brandon says, who do we like? Greer, Union County. I think Greer wins. Nice win last week for them. Calvin McCoy, one of our players of the week. I think got 200-plus yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks for Coach Young's bunch there. Union County, I do think they're going to get better this year under Coach Robinson. Tough loss to Newberry last week. I think they're just not quite on the same level as Greer is right now.
I agree.
Donna says, yes, Marlboro County will do some damage this year. I think so, man. They are really, especially – The key for them, like we knew the defense was good, was like, can they score on offense? What are they going to do on offense? They put up 60 points in week 1. So I think they may have that figured out as well. We shall see. But Jerel, if that's all, let's shout out some friends of the program to come back and go down to the 2A, 1A, and SCISA slate.
I would give him 15 out of 10 stars. He'll always be super satisfied with Preferred.
And they're still getting great reviews.
I recommend them to everyone.
Don't wait. Call Preferred Home Services today to schedule your Precision 21-point tune-up for just $79.
5-star performance! Most trusted. Most convenient.
And still the most experienced.
Home Services. Go, 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 Preferred!
Looking for top-notch sports gear and uniforms? Look no further than First Team Sports. With 30 years of serving the Carolinas, First Team Sports is your local full-service dealer. From youth teams to colleges, we've got you covered with team uniforms, staff apparel, Letterman jackets, sports equipment, and facility branding. Visit our local store in Greenville or firstteamsc.com. Make First Team your first choice.
Everyday life means everyday expenses. Spend smarter with a Founders Federal Credit Union credit card, offering you low rates and big rewards where it matters most. Enjoy all the benefits of saving while using your Founders Essential MasterCard. Make every swipe and tap count with smart rates, big rewards on select cards, and no balance transfer or annual fees. Because your money should go where you want it to. That's the power of Founders Federal Credit Union. Apply today at foundersfcu.com. Relax. You're with Founders.
John, let's take a look down now at the 2A slate. I don't believe we have any Thursday games there for that one, so we can start on Friday.
We've got American Leadership at home against Camden Military. Battery Creek will be at home against John Paul II. Liberty at home against Seneca. Andrew Jackson at home against North Central. A little bit of a rivalry game there. Peelian at home against Barnwell. East Clarendon will travel to Lawrence Manning Academy. Fairfield Central at home against Chester. Watch out for deer on that trip.
Fairfield Central, man, looked the part. Big win over Lower Richland last week. Chester, bit of a tough matchup against Lancaster there. Caleb Feaster had a huge game for Coach Caldwell, but still, I think that Fairfield Central bunch is really good, man. I like what they do with Shannon and Jones and that group on offense. I think defensively they're solid as well. The Culp kid's a playmaker for them too. I think Coach Davis's team is really solid. I think they go to 2-0. Big win over Chester on Friday.
Yeah, the Cyclones have a little bit of work to do. I think they can get there, but certainly not there quite yet. Manning will be at home against Scotch Branch.
Branch, remember, if you remember, upset Manning last year, first time in a long time that had some playmakers there for the Eagles. I don't think they're quite as good this year. I think Manning gets back on top. I think the Monarchs win this one.
Mid Carolina will travel to Batesburg-Leesville. Porter-Gaud at home against Philip Simmons.
I'm intrigued by this one. Porter-Gaud gave Bishop England all they wanted last week. Philip Simmons, a tough loss to Hanahan. Really be a good measuring stick for both teams here. I think two teams that are really solid down there in the Charleston area.
And hats off to Porter-Gaud for the schedule.
No
you're
doubt.
starting right out the gate with two pretty quality programs. That's impressive for them. Woodmont will be at home against Southside Christian. We've got Chesney hosting Broome. Landrum travels to 96. Ware Shoals at home against Carolina High and Academy. One of our CONA games of the week that we talked about earlier, Abbeville hosting Strom. Thurmond. Should be a great environment over there at Heights Stadium Friday. Carver's Bay at home against Waccamaw.
The Bears looked the part. Big win over Latta on Friday. Man, they're about where they left off last year. I think that Coach Richard squad's bunch is really good again.
Easley hosting Pendleton. Calhoun County at home against Lake Marion. Woodland will travel to Cross. Lamar goes to Columbia.
Columbia, big win last night. The Capitals got a victory on Monday. I think it was. Lamar, tough loss to Darlington last week. I think they get on the winning track this Friday.
Timberland is at home against Lake City. And that wraps up our 2A slate.
Any 1A comments, Jerel, from you or the chat? Jerel says, Fairfield Central Griffins, young but hungry. Yeah, I like that team a lot. A lot of folks are talking about them as a title contender. I think they certainly are down in the 1A ranks.
Let's go to 1A, guys.
Let's look down at 1A now, John.
Buford will travel across the border and take on Charlotte Christian. Dixie will be at home against Greenwood Christian. Andrews at home against Georgetown. Wagner Sally hosting Branchville.
That's a sneaky good game there. Branchville, a nice win over Whitmire last week. Wagner Sally, I think they're a team to look out for. Zay Capers, Trenton Summers, and whatnot there. Really intriguing team the War Eagles are. I think they're poised to make a deep run as well in the 1A playoffs. I think they do get a win, this Friday. But Branchville is not is not a pushover. They're a solid squad for sure.
Whitmire will travel to Spartanburg Christian. Allendale Fairfax hosting Clear Dot Charter. Hardyville will welcome in Claxton out of Georgia.
Hardyville beat Beaufort last week, right? Is that correct?
That sounds right.
Yeah, they beat Beaufort 22-20. I don't know if Beaufort is down like that or if Hardyville is good this year. I don't know. But that was a surprise when I saw that come across my desk last Friday night. Great win there for the Hurricanes. I hope they keep it going.
Yeah, even if Beaufort's down, that's a really impressive win, no matter what. Johnsonville got two teams here looking for their first win, and Johnsonville hosting Hannah Pamplico.
Johnsonville had a big lead on Lakeview last night, gave it away, ended up losing that football game by a score. I think they get a win for this week for the Flashes.
St. John's will travel to St. John's Christian. Manning at home against Scotts Branch. Hunter Kenner Tyler trying to get off the snide. They'll host Coolidge. That is an out-of-state squad, I believe. We've got Marion traveling to Ainer. Eau Claire hosting Ridgeland. Great Falls at home against Ben Lippen. Sherrall will be hosting Louisville. Don't expect both of these teams to be 0-1, but here they are here in week 2. I got to take in that Louisville Central Pageland game last week. Louisville, a lot of penalties last Thursday night in that game, but you can tell they've got some talent. They've got some speed. They need to work on their tackling. A lot of missed tackles last Thursday. I think they'll get there, but definitely got a lot of work to do based on what I saw on Thursday last week.
Yeah, and on the Sherrall side, just could not get the offense going against Andrew Jackson. Lost that game, I think, 14-13. Just could not get it figured out for Coach Poole's bunch there. I think they do this way. They've got a little more talent than Louisville this year. I think the Braves get a victory, move to 1-1.
Edisto will be at home against Blackville Hilda. Bethune-Bowman will be hosting C.A. Johnson. We got Lee Central. They'll be hosting Mullins. Latta at home against Chesterfield. Quite a ride in that one.
I believe I saw that game move to Thursday. I think Chesterfield Latta. So like a little Thursday night football down there in the PD.
One of our CONA games of the week, Abbeville hosting Strom Thurmond. We've got another CONA game of the week here. Hilton Head traveling to Bamberg-Ehrhardt. Denmark Olar at home against Burke. McCormick will be at home against Ridge Spring Minetta. Baptist Hill at home against Hemingway.
Got to say this. Hemingway back playing football again. You know, a couple of years ago, we gave them a really hard time because they weren't even like scoring. Like they got shut out. They got on the board last week, first game back. They scored 8 points, John. So hats off to the Tigers there, man. Hopefully it's a good sign of things to come. I hope, man. I hope.
Hey, scored and got the 2-point conversion.
That's right. That's right.
Magby will travel to Lakeview. King Street at home against Hanahan. Wilson hosting Hampton County. And Andrew Jackson hosting North Central. That'll wrap it up for 1A as well.
Yeah, another game that is a 1A class versus a bigger class, that Hampton County-Wilson game. But if you're the Wilson Tigers, watch out. Hampton County is not your typical 1A team. They've got some real talent, some real size there for Coach Hannah's bunch. They have a shot to win the football game, no doubt about it. Jerel, comments from you in the chat on 1A.
Got limited comments on no comments so far on 1A. Got additional comments here. My comment on 1A is we might need to start the show with them. I forgot how many teams got moved down to this realignment. That's a long list of games.
We might have to readjust our commercial breaks.
We might have to adjust that going forward. But yeah, let me throw a couple of comments up here, guys.
Mandel, what do you think about Greenwood this year? I'm intrigued by them, because I feel like they lost so many pieces we knew about with Desiree Christian and Tristan Lewis and those guys. But last week they didn't miss a beat, with Hamilton, Tay Hamilton, and Cassidy Lee offensively. They got the run game going there for Coach Liner. I like the offensive line a bunch. They're really good up front. We'll see as they get deeper into the season. I don't think that Riverside team is great this year, so we'll see. But that was an impressive way to start the season for sure for the Eagles. Brandon said he likes Fairfield Central big over Chester. They were impressive last week. They certainly were. I mean, Lower Richland's not a bad team at all, and that they hammered them pretty good.
See, put Gaffney. How did you put Gaffney on the upset alert, Kevin? What are you doing?
They won the game by less than a score. What do you want from me? Yeah, Chris, give me a hard time there, man.
Had to come back to win that one too.
Yeah, hey, great football game there. Gaffney won 10 in a row. I felt like Spartanburg was right there, had enough to beat them, and just didn't quite happen. I didn't call for the outright upset. Just said upset alert. But yeah, big win for the Indians there, man. Kendarius Bailey had a huge game for Coach Littlejohn there. Great victory to start the season for the Indians.
Travis, we need you to shoot us a DM. Tell us what happened. We need a full review on what happened.
Oh,
man. Travis says, bad hot dogs at Ashley Ridge. Let us know, Travis. We want to hear the full story, man. We'll make sure to avoid those down there if we go check out that group.
Another reason why I picked Lugoff-Elgin to win. Camden, still historically NTC, the worst hot dog that I've ever had.
I mean, that's worth at least 3 points, right?
100%. Let's go to SCISA, guys.
The SCISA ranks, we've got Hilton Head Prep traveling to Cross. Wardlaw traveling to Richard Wynn. Heathwood Hall at Northwood Academy. 2 0-1 teams that I think can both compete in 4A. Really surprised by Northwood. They got hammered by Bethesda last week. Pinewood Prep beat Heathwood pretty good. I think we all picked that one on our preview show. We got Greenwood Christian at Dixie. Cathedral at Newberry. Pinewood Prep at Savannah Country Day. Whitmire at Spartanburg Christian. Philip Simmons at Porter-Gaud. John Paul II at Battery Creek. A good game here. Hilton Head Christian at Wilson Hall. 2 really contrasting styles there. As you can see, who comes out on top. Both teams undefeated so far. East Clarendon at Lawrence Manning. Dillon Christian at Orangeburg Prep. Williamsburg at Trinity Collegiate. I want to say that game may have gotten moved to Thursday as well. 2 teams that did not play last week. Games canceled there. I think Williamsburg wins that football game on the road. We've got Cardinal Newman at Westminster. St. John's Christian. Ben Lippin at Great Falls. I think Ben Lippin gets a win for Coach Weigel there. I think they go to 2-0. Carolina at Holly Hill. Holly Hill, first game back in 11-man. They got a win last week, John. Parker Kaiser still doing his thing there for Coach Heydrich. I think they go to 2-0 this week. Patrick Henry at Beaufort. Lawrence Academy at Cambridge Academy. Lee Academy at Dorchester Academy. One of our SCISA games of the week. Northside Christian at Thomas Sumter. And then Jefferson Davis at Palmetto Christian. I think JDA rolls in that matchup there. Jerel, any other comments we need to hear before we get to the next commercial segment and rest of the program?
Let's keep it rolling, guys.
Perfect. Let's shout out friends of the program. They'll come back and go through a couple of things, including our pick'em and in the program.
Everyday life means everyday expenses. Spend smarter with a Founders Federal Credit Union credit card, offering you low rates and big rewards where it matters most. Enjoy all the benefits of saving while using your Founders Essential MasterCard. Make every swipe and tap count with smart rates, big rewards on select cards, and no balance transfer or annual fees. Because your money should go where you want it to. That's the power of Founders Federal Credit Union. Apply today at foundersfcu.com. Relax. You're with Founders.
The George Agency has been serving the insurance needs of South Carolina for over 40 years. They're a full-line insurance agency concentrated in employee benefits and health insurance with an office in Mullins and Murrells Inlet, but they can help you all across the state. They have clients in Greer, Rock Hill, Columbia, and more, so wherever you are, they can help. Give Bradley, Wayne, Richard, and the crew a call or check them out online at thegeorgeagency.net. That's thegeorgeagency.net. All right, our Pick'em contest brought to you by Hanna Engineering. I'll say it. The host here, we had a tough week one. But, hey, guys, long season to go. We drop your lowest score. If you haven't joined it yet, be sure to join it. It's posted on our social media platforms. You get the email that goes out as well if you're on the email list each and every week. Drill, let's show those leaders, man. It's
we have to.
I guess I should have cut off our scores here. We had a big 10-spot wins this week from Tyler G. Had a group at 9 as well with Thomas, Dale, Dane, Ryan, and PK. And then a lot at the 8 number. Jerel and I with 6, John with 4. We really struggled, guys. We got to pick it up here. But, I always say week one, tough to get a feel for these teams. We may have overthought a few of these for sure.
Boys down bad.
I stand by my picks. I was wrong. I'll do better. I'll get better.
Yes, once again, our Pick'em contest brought to you by Hanna Engineering. We do a season-long contest. You get a prize if you finish first at the end of the year. Want to shout out our teams of the week, powered by Preferred Home Services. We had Hilton Head Island, Rock Hill, Strom, Thurmond, and Marlboro County. Our players of the week insured by the George Agency. We had Brooks Dow at Pickens, Calvin McCoy at Greer, and Landon Robinson at Lake Wiley. I want to shout out Lake Wiley. I had it written down earlier, but I think they're off this week. First win in program history there for the Chargers. Coach Pelham's group beats a good squad of North Carolina, I think on the road as well last week. Great win for Lake Wiley, a team that's full of, freshmen and sophomores. Great, awesome win for the Chargers. Also, great uniforms, great colors. Everything looks really good for that Charger group. Guys, do we want to go through the polls or no? That's up to y'all. Y'all tell me how y'all want to handle that. I'm fine either way.
It's up to you guys.
Well, John, do you haven't pulled up? Do you want to go through the polls? Or you call it. You call it.
I've got the polls. We can go through them all, or we can go through what we thought are some of the surprises were and some of the big movers.
Sure, let's do that. Yeah, I'll let you shout it out. No, I don't have it pulled up in front of me, so I'm gonna listen to you for this one here.
So I think in 5A, a couple things that I noticed that I think are pretty interesting to see. You got Northwestern dropping to 4 in 5A.
What a joke that is. I'm going to say, I mean, you play an awesome team out of North Carolina, a team that's, top 25, top 30 in the country, lose by 5 on a Saturday afternoon, and you drop a ton of spots in the poll. Like, I just – that's why, man, I have such a hard time with a lot of these. I don't know.
That's a tough one. You got James Island at 6. Rock Hill gets in at 7. Somerville is at 5. I would have this 5A poll look a good bit different than what the media has it. But those are my eyebrow raisers a little bit in 5A. In 4A, big move here. You got Westside at number 3. Irmo drops down to 5. You got Hilton Head at 7. And you got Fountain Inn making an entrance at 9.
It's about time.
I really like the 4A poll. I think the 4A poll is pretty good.
I think it's solid. I mean, I made the case. I think Lugoff-Elgin could be in there certainly. But yeah, I think that one's getting better. So here's the question for you. So we got Indiana at number 4 right now. If they get beat by Big Bad Northwestern, do they drop to 15? Like, where are they going to go? I mean, if it's doesn't matter who you play, apparently it's just all about win-loss record, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, you know what the answer is. I don't know if I would drop them at all. I mean, they get beat 60-0. I think you got to do something, but we know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Looking down at 3A, you've got Camden now in the top spot. Oceanside drops to 4. I mean, okay, but I still don't think there's 3 teams in 3A better than that squad.
I agree.
Hey, shout out to the one voter that still got the first place vote hanging on there. Shout out to them.
Yeah,
it's true. That's true.
You got Daniel at number 2. Boy, if you want to really project a Camden Daniel state championship, we've seen that before, and sign me up for another one of those. That would be a lot of fun. You got Powersville 6, Bishop England 7, BHP is 8. I know we don't typically say this. I think BHP's too low. I'd put them a little bit higher, but we'll find out a lot. We'll find out on Friday when they play Daniel. And you got Hanahan cracking the top 10 at number 10.
Yeah, I like
nothing there.
No, that was not too bad. I don't love the top half. I think the top half's kind of misordered, but I mean the right teams are in there probably,
Yeah.
And in 2A,
rank Emerald.
Not yet.
Rank them, John.
In 2A, you've got Dillon dropping down to 5. You got Woodruff at 4. Newberry is at 3. I think you could shuffle that top 5 a little bit. Marlboro County is at 6. Not in the top 5. That's interesting to me. You got Philip Simmons at number 8. Andrew Jackson 9. Orangeburg Wilkinson 10. I think 2A is kind of like how my dad say he would grade papers. You just take them, you go to the stairs, and you just throw them. Whichever paper gets the highest, that's number 1. I feel like that's what we did with the 2A rankings this week.
Yeah, I need to take a look back at last week's because there's been some movement there. I'm just a little, I don't know if I'm still
OW too low in Marlboro County. If you're going to move them, put them ahead of Dillon. Those were contrast.
What was Philip Simmons last week? Do you guys remember?
You know what? I can I can tell you in about 2 minutes. We'll go to 1A first, and I'll come back to that.
Actually, I might be able to search it while you're reading 1A.
So with 1A, Nothing too crazy here in 1A. I think what stands out to me is you got Central Pageland at number 5. I watched this game on Thursday, and that Eagles team is really good. They've got a really good quarterback. They've got a lot of good team speed. They did not have many penalties, which is really something to say in week 1 on the road. They dominated the line of scrimmage against Louisville. I mean, that did not look like a 1A team. Now, I know they dropped down this year, but they did not look like a 1A team on Thursday. I don't know who you put them ahead of in that top 5, but they did look really, really good. I think that's the problem you have with Central Pageland at 5. You got Cross 6, Carter's Bay 7, Barnwell at 10, Lamar at 9.
And this is one too. When we start our poll here in a couple of weeks, we're going to break it out by Division 1, Division 2. So we'll have that set and won't have them all, kind of put together there. And I look back at the poll we had. Philip Simmons was also 7 last week. So they lost to a team that was outside of the top 10 in 3A and got dropped 1 spot. But yet we're getting dropped multiples for losing to a good team. I don't know. I don't make sense of a lot of it. I don't know.
Yeah, Marlboro County moved up 2 spots.
Yeah.
My issue with 1A is I think Bamberg, they should be 1. Like, they've proven it. Like, I don't see why you and I'm really high on Fairfield Central, but again, I think it's defending state champ.
That's fair. 1. That's fair.
Yeah. I'm also yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
I'm of the argument, and I think about this in college football. See what you guys think. And I know this is a simplistic way of thinking about it. College football is probably a little bit easier than high school, but I say you have whatever that top 10 is from the year prior. That's your preseason top 10 going into the next season. If you're top dog, you are top dog until you're not, until someone knocks you off. And if you think you're really good, you got young guys coming back. Well, if you went 5-5 last year, cool. Are you any good? Did you get any better? Go out and prove it. That's my 2 cents on polls.
Good deal. Any final thoughts, guys?
I think that's all I got.
Did we get players of the week?
Yep. I shouted out those guys insured by the Georgia agency there, guys. If this is your first time tuning in, be sure to follow us on all social media at Moving Chains, movingchains.com as our website and our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Each and every Tuesday night, 7:15, doing our live preview show on YouTube and Facebook. If you missed any of tonight's show, you can always go back and watch it once we are done here. While you're here, buy some Moving the Chains merch. We got some great sweatshirts, some kind of performance material ones along with some old school ones. We got some performance T-shirts like I'm wearing here, some plain T-shirts, pink, navy blue, black, gray, all kinds of Richardson hats as well, Moving the Chains stickers. Support the boys, man. Help us grow the program. You can email us info@movingchains.com or send us a message on social media, Facebook, Twitter, whatever works for you. Love to have you repping our stuff at games. Not sure where we're going to be this Friday. A lot of great options across the state, but if you see us, feel free to come say hello and talk to us, man. We'd love to see you out there. There's a chance, like I said, we're going to have some Thursday, Friday, Saturday action again this year. Or this week, so may catch 2 games. I don't know, but should be a fun week too. Anything final from you, Jerel? Anything final from you, John? As we wrap up here.
Go out and get into some games. Go watch some games. Got good football. We talked about this before. So much good talent all across state from 1A to 5A. Throw a dart at the map and go there. You're probably going to see some good football. You're going to see a good environment. Hopefully you get a good hot dog. I know you can't find that everywhere, but go out and get into it.
No, I'm super excited about week 2. Again, the teams that have played that jump from week 1 to week 2, I mean, you really get into the season there. Again, like I said last week, just really impressed by these coaches and ADs scheduling these tough matchups. Would love to see the South Carolina teams. I feel like we got beat up a little bit out of state last week.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do a little bit better this week. I know we got some really tough matchups again, but excited to hit the grass, the turf, wherever. Again, go support these teams unless the turf field's not done. Really impressed by you guys today. You guys are mid-season form. We got Rant Kev. John's fired up about polls. We got Zach calling us out on stuff. I mean, it's a good show tonight, boys. And last thing, if you do follow us, I really do appreciate it. But definitely hit that YouTube subscribe button as well. We're lacking there. Never know what's going to happen with meta and stuff like that. So it's always good to have that as a backup. Take you 30 seconds to a minute. Just hit that subscribe button for us. But good show tonight, boys.
Yeah, I do want to say thank you to Athletic Director Paul Calvert at Irmo last week for letting us come down there and check them out. Obviously, Coach Brand and Coach Bullware did super nice to us. Said hello and talked to me pregame, after game, whatever. So thank you to them to doing that, and had a great time at Irmo as always. Bit of a concession stands issue. I went to get a hot dog right before half, sold out. So that was a bit of a disaster there. We got to get that figured out. But hopefully this week we better wherever we go. But anything else, John, before we go home here tonight?
I'm excited about it.
Perfect, man. Hope you guys get out to a game Friday. Love to see you out there. For Jerel, Hendricks, and John Epps, I'm Kevin Thomas. This has been our Week 2 preview show here on Moving the Chains, talking all things South Carolina high school football. We will catch you guys next week.
Get ready for the ultimate South Carolina high school football experience with Moving the Chains. From previews to recaps, we've got you covered. Dive into our expert preview shows, predicting winners and sharing insights. Then join us post-game for the thrilling recaps, exclusive interviews, and highlights you won't find anywhere else. Plus, connect with fellow fans on our Friday night spaces on Twitter/X. No one covers South Carolina high school football like us. Join us at Moving Chains on all social media platforms and visit movingchains.com today.